Hey, Alex,
Yeah,
the video started. You got 5 seconds to make them interested.
5 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, that's how YouTube is now. You're gonna have to, I don't know, do
It's already
something.
been 5 seconds.
Okay,
The
well, I
video,
think they've...
yeah, it started.
Oh, right, well, they're probably gone. Better luck next time.
Well, I guess this video's a flop. I guess everyone's gone. Wait, you're still here? Right. Okay. Right. You know, it didn't always used to be this way. It seems our systems have become hypersensitive to a lack of stimulation. We're far more likely to click, swipe away, or skip ahead if we feel that sense of boredom and discomfort. In fact, we're pretty good at this. We've trained ourselves to be out of that boring video and onto a better one pretty quickly. But the videos we switch away from are often perfectly fine. They just don't meet today's standards of stimulation, which can be pretty high. It's why YouTube, TikTok, Netflix, and so on have become an absolute mess. Not only do they accommodate our problem by making it easy to switch content to something more stimulating, but they had a huge part in creating the problem in the first place. We learned to be overstimulated, which made us crave more of it. So the solution became going back to the same thing which caused the problem. It's an uncomfortable state to be in, and once you're stimulated, it's easier to keep stimulating than it is to stop and face the discomfort it put us in. I'd find myself needing to escape that discomfort, so I was like, I may as well keep watching, even though a part of me didn't want to. It's a real vicious cycle. But this isn't the solution, and deep down I think we know this. We'll explore what the real solutions could be very soon. What creators see is more people clicking off their videos because it's harder to hold their attention, and so they compensate by making their videos more stimulating. Some of the top creators on YouTube making self-development content like me are some of the worst culprits. Over the last week, I've had multiple occasions where I had to literally stop watching some of these creators' videos and just listen to them instead because their visuals were just so distracting. You know, I can't focus on two things at once. If you're showing me a new image every 3 seconds, I'm not going to be able to follow what you're saying, especially if it's a video I'm trying to learn from. Sure, I'd be entertained, but I'd have to go into a zombie state because I can't focus intently whilst watching and listening to their videos at the same time. But modern creators almost depend on you to zone out because that's what keeps you watching their video. That's what it takes to hold a majority of people's attention these days. It's like we aren't even watching videos for the sake of themselves anymore, but to feed this insatiable monster the internet created in us. Yes, this sounds dramatic, but that's because it is. The problem isn't just that the internet changed, it's that we did too. It's why we might find ourselves squirming and needing to escape perfectly good content that might just be a little too underwhelming or slow for us as we search for something more stimulating. So we downplay and skip over a huge amount of these videos. These judgments we make come from an altered state, a state of seeking excitement. And when it comes to dopamine, which is the pleasure chemical in the brain which pops up as we watch these videos, the further we get stimulated over time, the harder it is to feel that pleasure. We get caught in this shallow pleasure cycle, and in doing so we sacrifice some of the best content for what feels immediately satisfying. I noticed at some of my worst points that I felt like a black hole, endlessly consuming content to satisfy a part of me that would never be happy. It's like my priority had shifted and I couldn't sense the depth in what I was watching, even if there was depth. I wouldn't give myself a moment to process it after I watched it. I'd just be on to the next video when I really needed to pause and think about what I just watched. So everything I just talked about is the problem. I know it might be a lot to think about, but I wanted to explore some solutions. I'm not going to act like I've got this all figured out because I certainly don't, and I'm right there with you just trying to navigate this, but I do have some ideas which might help. The first idea is this idea of the safe zone. It's that window of time before you become too stimulated and move into uncomfortable territory, where you're enjoying what you're watching with maybe a sense of control. It's like we can handle watching content for a while until we notice, hey, I'm being hooked. So it's becoming more aware of that shift, because oftentimes we aren't aware at all. We just wake up an hour or two later and go, what the heck happened? Where was I? How much time passed? So by being aware of when we leave our safe zones, it gives us more of an idea of how long we can watch that kind of content before things start getting uncomfortable, and it helps to snap us out of zombie mode. The second part to this is to increase the time that we're in our safe zones by connecting back to real life and ourselves again. I know, maybe not what you wanted to hear, because if we're in a high intensity pattern of stimulation, real life is going to seem boring. But whatever the case, you can introduce more of it in smaller amounts, even if that's just going outside for a few minutes, then building on that. It could be anything. Spending time with friends, playing sports, walking in nature, maybe some journaling. These are the moments our hyperactive system gets a chance to reset and come out of this uncomfortable state of needing content to survive. But I'm not going to lie and say this is easy. It can be challenging, and I felt physical resistance to the idea. But piece by piece, it definitely becomes doable. And that's because you start building momentum. By doing this, you replenish your ability to be in that safe zone again, and you actually extend it too. So a little recap, those two things were to be more aware of our safe zones and when we leave them, and to allow time to reset in real life so we can be in the safe zone more. We want to get to a place where a single video can have more of an impact on us without getting hooked by it. You know, I watched a video a few days ago about a guy talking about how we needed to get back into nature. And he was sitting in the forest the whole time. It was basically just one shot. There was barely any editing. Very understimulating video, right? But the words he was saying was what mattered. It really resonated with me. It felt real. I could connect to what he was saying, and that's where a lot of the value was. It's like this guy was actually living real life alongside me. And it turns out that's more of what we need. Content which feels like it sits at the ground level where we live our lives from, and not on this artificial plane masquerading as reality. Content which is made by someone who isn't trying to be better than other people, with a fake personality, with a motive to only get their views up, with content leaving us stimulated and detached. Because at a core level, we watch content to feel connected. We want to see those parallels between ourselves and the real world and feel that connection. So more of that kind of quality over quantity would be fantastic, because in my opinion, that's where a lot of the quality comes from. So we want to seek out content which makes us feel like it came from the real world and not from a place that's just trying to maintain our attention. Because after all, if the world's not going to change, then it's up to you and me. It's the end of the video. Thanks for staying till the end. I really appreciate that. If you have any thoughts about what I said here, I'd love to hear it in the comments, and I hope this helped. We'll see you next time.